Hi, friends. It's Jason and Lo, and we're going to try something different. We are going to do therapy on camera, and we want you to listen in. Why would you do something like this? I don't know. Maybe we'll talk to each other in a kinder manner, knowing that other people are listening, probably judging us. Maybe, just maybe, it will help you as well. Whether you're married or you're in a relationship, it doesn't really matter. I think in general, conflict arises, and the truth is, we have been fighting more than ever in this season in our life. So we brought in our real therapist. This is our second session together, so we're new to this. Angie Ritchie. Angie, thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm honored. You're very brave to do this, but I think you have a gift to give to the world, so I'm really excited.
Are we crazy for doing this?
Oh, I don't know, crazy in the best way. I think people want to know the real, and I think if we don't talk about these things, you'll never find solutions, and there are solutions. So the fighting can decrease. It probably won't be eliminated, but we have to talk about them and find ways to solve our challenges.
Love Bug, how do you feel about this?
I feel really good. You know me, I don't think much about something until like after. Mm-hmm. So I feel great.
Okay, so hopefully after you think this is a good decision. Was this a mutual decision, would you say?
I think it was your idea, and my personality is kind of like, let's do it.
Well, the idea of sitting down and doing we're calling it a limited series to see if you guys care, if we enjoy this, and ultimately we'll make the decision from there. But I think we definitely have a story to share, and I think it's exciting that we get to do this, and also very terrifying. Before we get really going,
do you feel nervous?
I actually feel comfortable. I feel fine in this medium. Podcast, it's new for me. Being on camera, obviously not new for me. Being vulnerable on camera, new for me. So that's definitely different. What about you? How do you feel about being vulnerable on camera?
I love it. I love being vulnerable. No matter where I am.
She's getting warmed up.
It's kind of true, right?
Tell us a little bit about yourself so people have some context.
Yes, well, I'm so happy to be here with you. And Lo, I love your vulnerability, so this is going to be fun. I am a licensed practicing therapist. I'm the president of a university. I started just in the field of education, and then I got my marriage and family therapy degree. But I always tell people that if you want to know who you were meant to be, what did you do when you were 2, 3, and 4? And I remember my early childhood, I never wanted to really go out and play. I mean, I was the lamest kid, but I wanted to be around adults. I wanted to listen to conversations all through my life. I wanted the tea. I wanted to know what people were going through. I wanted deep conversations. And I thought, wow, is it possible that I could spend my life in my vocation sitting on couches talking to people? And that's what I get to do. So I'm honored to be here. I love the field, but ultimately I'm about transformation and seeing people grow and heal and really live their best lives. So this is such a joy for me, and I want to see people find breakthrough in their lives.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Honored that you're here as well.
Thank you.
How do you feel, Love, in terms of teeing up
My
where we're
stomach
at?
is going nuts.
It's all that exotic fruit you're eating.
I know.
She had a friend just send all this fruit from Florida, and I've never heard of it, never seen it. It tastes interesting,
So
and we
good.
all had the fruit before. So if we pass away mid-interview, it is the, what is it, a papaya? Sepultia?
Sapodilla.
Sepulveda Boulevard?
Sapodilla.
Oh, Sepultia. Okay, fantastic. So just want to be completely transparent there. Hopefully, did you have some of the fruit?
No, but I want some.
Okay.
Okay,
So
after this,
before,
we have to have a bite.
before I go. Okay.
So good.
Fantastic.
I'm obsessed with fruit.
It's not about the fruit. It is about where we're at right now
Yeah.
in this season, and how would you describe it? I don't want to be the guy who's just talking the whole time. Where do you think we are right now? We've been married 10 years. We have a 3-year-old son. We have an 18-month-old daughter, and we are in the middle of it.
I would describe this time as, so every day is super new, or just having 2 kids is super new for us. Having 1 kid was really new, and then we got precious Poppy without expecting it. So having 2 really close together, it's just a big life change. But I think my personality is, I just love it so much. And I think I'm just kind of meant to be doing motherhood and family, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. I love the change. Even if I'm exhausted, I'm like, this is the most beautiful responsibility I've been given. So I really like it. I think that sounds really funny. I really like it. Of course, I love being a mom. I feel like being parents and also during pregnancy and just preparing for a kid, I think it brings out things in both of us that you don't, it brings out,
It's okay.
it brings out things in both of us that you don't expect. I actually heard something yesterday where it was like your past experiences, your past trauma, they're in your body and anything, like it's in there. So something can bring up something that you're not expecting. And I feel like we are in a phase where you are starting to work personally on things that you've never worked through in counseling solo. And I think you're just working through a lot of past hurt and issues. And I started doing that after my accident like 13 years ago. So I like have been through such a personal trauma season in my life, which has given me so much grace and purpose for you going through it and space to really be there for you. I know what it feels like to bring up past things, and it's a lot and it's exhausting for the person working through it. So I feel like we're in that time where we're both learning this new rhythm while you're dealing with your own personal things, which is a whole different element, and then having two little kids and trying to be the best parents we can and trying to be the best people we can be to each other during that time.
So what's the adjective to describe this season? Are you?
Oh, were you just asking for one word?
No. But I just wanted kind of like, I want to make sure that I'm understanding it. How are you viewing where we're at in our marriage right now?
Oh, in our marriage, I would say, I don't know. How would you describe it?
Challenging.
Challenging?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Do you think that we've been fighting more than ever? Or is it just me?
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like I view it as each time is like becoming more productive because the way we're communicating is a lot healthier each time.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for those times, even though they really suck in the moment.
Yeah. And Angie, when we told
Yeah.
you we wanted to do this, I remember you said something interesting on the phone. I would love for you to share it. But when you look at, life with kids, I still consider us young. Our kids are babies.
Yeah.
They're 3 and under, essentially. Is this normal to feel this way right now?
It is so normal. Your season, and for anyone listening, is the most difficult season, I think, in marriage, in life, because you're barely formed as a unit before you had kids. I mean, you are two different people, two different value systems, two different family of origins. You're literally different cultures in every way. Male, female, your languages are different. You come together and you're trying to really merge two separate people, and that takes a lifetime. So they say that you're building a world-building enterprise. Lo and Jason come together. You're building something that's never existed. You take two companies, you merge them. Mergers and acquisitions take a lot of time and a lot of conflict, and you have to merge values. You have to get on the same page. So this right here is new. And you're trying to figure it out. And then guess what? You bring a rib and a poppy, and these two little bundles of joy, they're also disruptors. And so what's happening as you're still forming developmentally as individuals and as a unit, as Team Kennedy, these two people suddenly take your eye off the ball. And it triggers all of your childhood wounds, all of your needs, things you never thought you'd have to deal with. And you're having feelings, and then you're having conflict, and you have no sleep, and you have no time together. It really is the perfect storm, but it is the greatest, let me emphasize this, the greatest opportunity for growth and healing, if you can get through it. But many people, they throw in the towel too soon. So I just want to normalize this season. I think it was 2 years ago, there was an interview with Michelle Obama, and she said she hated Barack for 10 years. Wow. And it was during the time they were raising their kids. Because parenting styles are different. Their habits are different. The division of labor was always a challenge, which I'm sure you experienced that too. So it's stressful. So normalize it. It's okay. You're going to get through it. But you have to be a team, and you have to communicate.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is when we get into an argument, it seems to go back to the past. It goes back to when she was pregnant the second time around with Poppy, and maybe she doesn't feel like I was as involved. But in my head, I was trying to sell shows. I was trying to, make money for the family and keep the wheels on the train track. And she maybe, I don't want to speak for you. Feel free to discuss it. But I think a lot of times the argument in the moment has nothing to do with what's happening in the moment. It's about past things that we fully haven't figured out yet. And that's the frustrating part for me, because I feel like I am the type that wants to immediately make sure we're good. I don't want to go to bed angry. I want to handle it right there in the moment. And self-admittedly, you'll say, I need some time, and I try to give you that time. But there have been multiple times recently, we could go 3 days, 3 days, 3 at the most, where it could just be like we're cohabitating, making sure the kids are okay. And I hate that. Nothing stresses me out more. Nothing makes me more upset when we're not on the same page. Are there any tips or tricks to when you keep going back to a deep-rooted issue that hasn't been handled?
Yes. Well, first of all, I would say that whenever there's stress and parenting is stressful, you will always go back to your memory bank of past traumas, things that upset you. It's Bezer Van de Kolk talks about that we carry trauma, like you just said, inside us. And so it's not about a specific moment, it's about a threat. And so what's really happening is, you're right, Jason, it's not the problem, it's what's below the problem, and it's about what is Lo's need. The problem is when you bring up something that Jason thought was resolved, it's flooding, it's overwhelming, it makes you upset, and so there's no productive conversations. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So the key here is like, okay, what's Lo need? What's Jason need right now? Not so much of the past, but I think that bringing up the past over and over again, it means you behaviorally moved forward. But you didn't emotionally move forward. So behaviorally, you're high functioning. You're going to continue. You're going to be happy, and you're going to enjoy each other. But when something bad happens, or a triggering event, or not enough sleep, guess what? We're going to go into enemy mode again, and we're going to have the problem start over. So talk to me about that. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I feel like so throughout our entire marriage, I just have a very chill personality and go with the flow. And I feel like even if he would hurt me, I would just move on. I almost like can't force myself to be sad or something, because I just feel like internal joy. I don't know. And so I was like,
You're happy. You were born a happy.
Yeah. I really would like wake up so excited to like live life when I was little. Or just ever since I was little. But I feel like what has changed is I feel like there's been so many patterns or such a continuous pattern of the same thing. So even if it was resolved, it's still happening. And it got to the point this year where I just completely shut down emotionally and didn't seem joyful and didn't seem happy. And I think that's what really impacted you. And to me, he's saying, I think maybe a huge guessing this, but I've heard it from many women specifically, is just men like want to provide and make their family feel secure and cared for. But I feel like money can be so much of the focus, which I get, because that is like a way to just keep the wheels going on life. But a woman just is dying for connection and is dying to be understood. So in really key times in life when you didn't feel that way, so for me it was pregnancy with Poppy, just like hurtful things over and over again, but I don't even think intentionally. I think there was just triggers going on for him. So it wasn't like intentionally personal. It just was really personal, because when you're pregnant, you're just so vulnerable and you actually need so much more. And you are just basically, at least for me, pregnancy was more difficult. So I was just trying to survive every day. And we had a toddler at this point he's like bigger on the growth scale. So I was like, oh my gosh, can you weigh like less pounds? Like it was a lot. And so it felt very lonely for me during that time. And when I asked for help, go over it round and round in my head and say like, okay, when's a good time to ask him so he won't be mad? And okay, I'm going to ask him on this day, because he seems really happy right now and in a good place. And then I would just be met with like almost just like personal attacks towards me. So I don't know where that was coming from, but I still...
But you still to this day don't know where that's coming from? Or now?
I think maybe when you were... I've learned a lot, actually, being around your family more. I think that you were very, very celebrated and praised and allowed to do kind of anything most of the time. I don't know if you were said no to a ton. And like for me, I grew up with responsibilities in the house and a separated home. And so we were like very, my parents were divorced for 7 of the years when we were, my sister and I, my twin sister and I were 4 to 11. So we learned, that made us like grow up a little bit, but also we just had a lot of responsibilities. So I feel like I actually really love responsibilities. I don't think that was like a trauma necessarily for me, but I think for you, I don't know if you had a lot of those. And so when you're asked to do something that you don't want to do, if you don't want to do it, it's like a no matter what the circumstance. And all I have to compare to is my dad. And my dad is just in the complete opposite of that, where if there's a package on the front porch, he's like, oh my gosh, let's open it together. So fun. And like everything's just communal and so joyful. And that's like what I was used to as a man, the only other man I've lived with in a home. And so I think to me, it's like confusing behavior when like the man responds not that way, I guess.
Well, because your template was your dad.
Yeah.
You know what? I just want to go back a little bit. I want to just affirm and validate the fact that you trust Jason's character.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Like his motives.
Yes.
There's nothing about it, but
Yes.
but your needs weren't being met. Not because his heart, I don't think it wasn't there. It was just you're learning each other.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, Jason. I know there a lot was said. How are you processing right now? Because I do want to highlight that for Lo, it was just the way things were translating for her, but it wasn't representative of your heart.
Well, thanks, Angie, for asking.
You're welcome, Jason.
You know what's interesting? When let's open a side tab. We do individual therapy. You've done EMDR after your accident. For those that don't know, my wife many years ago was involved in an accident. She lost her arm, eye, traumatic brain injury. I covered the story on a show I was hosting at the time called E! News. We fell in love. 10 years later, 2 kids later, here we are talking about how marriage is hard on a limited series. And we've had couples therapists in the past, friends of ours, another couple. And then when we were trying to specifically talk about this, you came on our radar and I didn't want to go at all. I remember. I was pissed. You could probably feel my energy when I walked in that room.
You were polite, but I did feel a little...
Yeah, I mean...
little radiation.
Because I feel like I'm tired of talking about the same thing in circles when I feel like something has been squashed and we can move on. But when you started agreeing with me during our session, I was like, I love this lady. No.
Sorry, Lo. No problem. It's for the marriage. It's for the marriage.
For sure. To answer your question, my head kind of spins. I kind of feel my body temperature change and I feel a little more hot because I definitely feel like, why can't she see all the things going on in our life at that time? When you look at the last 5 years of our life since COVID, since I was 12 years old, have been in a routine of being on camera. Literally, when I was 12 years old, I built a studio in my house. I was chasing news trucks and scenes, and it was like a dynamic where I just was loving everything about what I do. And I still love that to this day. I moved to California. I work at the mall for 5 weeks. I get this job at E! News. I'm there 16, 17 years. And I'm on planes. I'm in morning meetings, hair and makeup. It's like a beautiful routine, chaos, but also incredible. You get the highs of doing what you like. Yes, there's adoration and praise. Then COVID hits. I'm doing it here from the house for about a year, these on-camera things. And it was I hated it. It sucked. Like you couldn't be in front of people. I have my show that I'm doing where I'm finally getting my own show where I can interview people in person. But then due to COVID, hey, you can't do the interview show anymore. You can't travel. You can't be face-to-face with people. So we navigated. I leave E! News. We start having children. We go through IVF with River because we're told we can't get pregnant naturally. Poppy comes along literally out of nowhere. That she's not an IVF baby. She's a total miracle. Were we ready in that exact moment for baby number 2? We weren't.
No way.
Are we unbelievably thankful for her? Absolutely. Was I in the middle of a career that is constantly changing, a business? We're in historic moments in my business where so many things are working, but more things than not are not working. I'm selling shows. I'm trying to find advertisers. I'm not a marketing guy. So my business has been flipped upside down. So there's a stress to what I'm doing every day on top of being, a husband, a father. And I look at all that stuff and I'm like, it's just difficult right now. There's tons of pressure right now. It's not like the old days where it's like a paycheck's coming every week. You can have really productive months and then you could have 6 unproductive months. So when I look at, hey, I'm sorry that during Poppy's pregnancy, I might not have been helping you, vacuum or whatever it is, fill in XYZ, because of what was happening in life. So I just look at it as a very black and white thing. And I'm like, I was actually just not doing well. I was checked out because I was trying to just kind of keep my head above water and be there for my family. And thankfully we're past that, but we're still in this dance of what does our family look like? What does this business look like for me? What does our relationship look like? So it's tough. And I'm just all about moving past that. And sometimes we get into an argument about something that's happening right now, present day, and it goes back to exactly what we were just talking about. And I feel like that is frustrating for me.
Can I say something? So
Please.
I feel like during that time, I remember being in the pool table room during COVID, and Jace was really struggling. For me, I'm a homebody, and I found a lot of peace in COVID besides the devastating things happening during COVID, but just in our home felt so much peace with the pace, just thinking this is a great time to, connect even more and have fun, which we did. But also so many days you were just you're very disrupted by COVID, which is I know you through and through in your personality, and that's very hard for an extrovert and for someone that likes their daily routine and has had that for years and years. But I just remember God speaking to me and just being like, what did people do after your accident during your time of re-identifying yourself, even when I was angry or all the grief I was experiencing and just physical reconstruction of so much and emotional just hell, really, and healing. I was literally met with just unwavering love and hugs and validation and from my friends and my family. And so that gave me just
During your accident?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After, and just that gave me my whole life was so different forever. And that gave me just this capacity, I think, to really stand by him, knowing he's going through this personal struggle, trauma for the first time really in his life, I think. Where it was just a real hit to you, to your identity, just ego in the emotional sense. And I was just, my purpose every day was to help bring him more joy and validate his feelings and be I'm here for you if you need anything. Never force. I know he hates to sit down and be forced to talk about something. So it was just when you're ready, just know I'm here. You can bring anything to me. I'm so sorry. This sucks. I hate this for you. But just know I'm okay. I'm okay during this time. Just super validating. And I think that you were in a dark place. So I know I don't even need for you to see those things. But I guess I learned and was taught that you have the control on how to respond to something. So you can be struggling so hard, but or if someone's rude to you or if someone says something, it's you choose how you respond. So I think I realized just how much the tone of one person in the home, especially the man, impacts the whole energy of your whole home.
I've realized that.
So that was a lot for a few years, and just trying to keep my joy going and
So I think
all
that,
but
part of what I'm hearing you both say is, I mean, you both have gone through so much. And I think COVID for everyone was, I mean, people listening, it was so disorienting. Then we had to reorient to what this new world is, and you're still working through it. But I would say for you two is to, as you kind of hold space for each other, and that's what it is. You want to be fully yourselves, but you're also expanding, and you're making this room for Jason to be himself. When he's winning in your eyes, and when he's frustrating you, he can be himself. And I think that for you, Jason, same thing I see with Lo. You just embrace from her story from the very beginning. I remember in our first session how when she began to talk about even her childhood, you were attuned and you were in tears. This is what growing in oneness means, is to where we stop fighting for our own rights, but we are so in tune to what the other person needs and wants. And so I will say this, let me just point out an observation, is when you bring up the past, which I think it's John Gottman says that 69% of our arguments are perpetual. They're like the same ones. But when you bring up the past, it does, and tell me if I'm wrong, Jason, it could feel very invalidating to you, and it can bring up this sense of shame and failure, which floods you,
Yes.
and you can't move forward.
For sure.
So what do you need from Lo? And Lo, as you think back, I do the same thing. Me and my husband, 31 years. I'm like, are we ever going to grow up?
Yeah.
From age 20 on.
So another 20 years, this will continue.
It might. But listen, you guys are ahead of the game because you got into therapy. You're doing the work. And this is what's so beautiful, that you're pausing. This is a testament to your marriage. You may be fighting all day, but guess what? You're on a couch right now talking about
We've
stuff.
had a great week.
Praise God. It's
well,
amazing.
I think
Been
too.
sick.
I mean,
Because she's been sick.
hey,
She's on drugs. She's relaxed.
no. Another big thing I'll never is like a core value of my childhood is we grew up in a very like wealthy city or just like town suburb of Dallas, and I feel like when my sister and I got just ungrateful, my dad introduced us to this community in downtown Dallas, very underprivileged community, and it truly became like my sister and I's second home. And if we became ungrateful, he would say, you need to go serve some people and go down there. And I'm like, okay. And we would go there and help with kids. I had a grandma figure down there. We just knew the whole community. And that always would change me and always put things into perspective of just how much we have in life. So I think that's part of it too, is we are missing a slight like serving factor. Like Jason's the most generous human of all time, but I mean like physically doing things with people and all of that. I don't know why that's like a big, I think, blank space in my life now, is knowing where to do that. I mean, obviously right now, kids, that's like you're serving your babies and your husband and your family. But I think like coming up with distinct ways that we can expose ourselves to different communities that don't look like ours is also very
It's a value
changing.
of yours. It's a value. It's something that you hold dear. And I think that's what is so important when you are becoming one, truly a team, is you have to say, what are our shared values? How do we express those? And then what are values that are different that you can still honor without disrespecting each other or hurting each other unintentionally? Nothing that you're doing is intentional. But you are in a space that you have great opportunity to grow together and to expand yourselves as you grow as a team. And that's through love and understanding and respecting each other's stories. And like Jason, your story is valid and what you went through. And I do see, even from the last time I saw you both, huge gains. Am I wrong?
No, it's so
No,
true.
I think so
see
for sure.
a shift.
I agree.
A big
Thanks for noticing that and mentioning that.
I feel that
Hold
too.
on, I gotta pee.
Oh.
One sec. I drink so much water. Guys.
No problem.
Should we do it?
Oh,
Okay, so how are you experiencing this so far? What's going on in you?
I think it's so good to talk through, and I love doing that. I think maybe Jace's thing is, and I want to say this first, he is just the most precious heart of all time. I love him so much for so many reasons, but I just want to, this is just one thing I think he struggles with, is just like he wants me to win in life, but not like when we have a disagreement. And I don't mean no one needs to win, but I think he fights to win. And I think that's what's really is just defeating for me because I think I want to communicate about something and feel understood and like I'm being sought to be understood. And I think that's like the missing piece. And I don't know if this is like too deep, but my my mom was like very emotionally attuned, and my dad was just so present when we were growing up. And I will say I really struggled, I think, because I was a twin growing up with knowing why I was upset or my feelings, like defining my feelings. I knew what they were, but like she had to really help me, and my mom helped
With
me.
language and
Yeah.
what are you feeling? And
Yes. And I would always just be like, I think like moving forward or moving past something can also be pushing something under the rug. So I think there's that aspect, but just really growing in emotional attunement and how to do that, how to validate and how to understand. And
well, I think,
you know,
because you know what it looks like and you've experienced it, you have a great opportunity to show, to model, and to create an environment and interactions that reduce stress, reduce a sense of opposition. And so that is something that we as women, especially when dealing with men and working with men, is how do I speak their language?
Yeah.
And how do I communicate in a way that reduces barriers, that they feel respected and heard, but yet we can express, this is actually a need I have. And so that's where you're learning together. Do you feel you're effective in communicating to Jason? Do you feel like you're getting what you need now more than you used to?
yeah, I would say the last two conversations we've had have been really different, honestly, because of you. I feel like you've been way more validating and calm and not defensive, which has been super nice to where we can actually like talk about things. So I feel like that's been a big need. I think, so there was that thing I sent you guys.
Something that you said, though, defensiveness. You know, Jason, we had talked about what are the killers of marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Criticism, number
Yeah,
one.
let's hear
You
it.
ready? Criticism. This is John Gottman. Criticism, defensiveness, contempt, which is like the rolling of the eyes or like those sighs, and then stonewalling, shutting down. And so what you just said is Jason was less defensive, which leads me to believe that you might have been less critical.
What do you think?
Hey, it's perfect timing.
Oh, Benjamin.
Hey, sit down right here, bum. Sit.
I feel like I more just felt more understood. I think I started creating boundaries for my own self, and that was new.
Talk about that. So, yes, Lo, I love this. What'd that look like?
I feel like it was just not like bouncing back right away. And I don't mean like silent treatment or anything like that. I think just showing like how certain words or actions will impact my vulnerability in me. Yeah, as a woman.
You didn't just try to rally and fake it and be good.
Yeah. And then also just, I feel like I'm really relaxed with if Jace ever wants to do anything fun and get away and go with the guys. For years, I've just been like, this brings you so much joy and recharge. Yes, go. And I feel like recently, so our 3-year-old River has been really struggling when Jace leaves. And it's hard to describe the emotional response when you're not in it because it's like very intense. And so just voicing to Jason, like, I don't know if this is a good decision for you to do a guy's trip right now because River doesn't know the difference of what you're gone for. Like, you have to go for work, but play is a choice. He just knows you're gone. And this is a huge part of his development. He like craves you and is obsessed with you. They have the sweetest relationship ever. So actually just kind of saying, maybe not now. Maybe this isn't a good time. And I think that was also a boundary, but just like there were a few more, but I'm kind of forgetting what they were.
Yeah, I have been traveling a lot for work, especially the last 2 months. We'll go on little 2-3 day spurts, and that's what work looks like for me right now. And I'm thankful for that. Definitely throws the routine a little bit off with kids, but that's kind of what we have to do. And I was just simply saying, once a year for the past 9 years, I've had this guys trip where it's recharging, it's great conversation, it's kind of what I need. And it's been a big source of contention for me not even going. So I decided after a lot of back and forth with Lo that I'm not going to do it. But I was upset. I was definitely mad that I couldn't go on that trip and that she didn't understand how important that is for me with all the stress on my life about, providing for my family, like actually going on a trip where I don't need to think about that. I don't need to be on. It's not about making money. It's not about anything except going and being with guys that I love, many of them older than me, where we can just, talk. I could get some wisdom and have that moment. So I think that's been a real big issue that we tried to work through, and it didn't go super well. But I think we have a few open tabs here. I think when we circle back into kind of the routine that gets unhealthy for us, you always come out saying the same thing, and something I feel like I'm getting better at, but maybe I'm not moving down the field as quick as I want to. You always say that I don't validate you enough. So what does that mean exactly? And Angie, please help me actually visually see how I can validate and how people watching can validate their significant others more.
And really fast, Angie, do you have a response to the guys trip thing?
Do you want me to my opinion?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So what I heard you say is how much this meant to you, Jason. And it's not just about a guy's trip. This is about the wisdom. It's about the refueling. And I think, Lo, you even mentioned it. It's so recharging for him. He comes back. Does he come back so refreshed?
I would say on text message he seems refreshed, and then when he comes home, maybe
He's tired.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But do you think it does it encourage you? Do you feel, Jason, that it gives you perspective and to come back and
It's always one of
Kill
my
it.
favorite things once a year.
yeah. So this is what I would say. If you don't go and you just listen, are you going to resent Lo?
Well, I'm not going. It was canceled, and I did resent her for multiple weeks because of it. But I can honestly say that I'm over it now. We've talked through it, but yeah, definitely it was frustrating for me.
It kind of fell apart on its own, too.
Just because the dates were changing, but they knew that behind the scenes it was starting to be a stress related thing, and my friends were like, well, it sounds like it's kind of too much on your family right now, let's just not. And then everything kind of went away.
This is how I feel about when it comes to couples and being a team, is you want each other to win. And whenever you can say yes to something that will bless your partner, you want to do that. And so there is a point of sacrifice, though I don't know all the details of the why, and I know you have valid reasons. I guess my question would be, is there a third option? Is there a trip? Could he go, and then could you get what you need?
You could babysit, Angie.
I'm here. You all heard it here. I'm
Well,
here to
even
babysit.
his work trips are so fun. They're not like,
That's my goal. I want to make work trips fun.
Yeah.
but more meaning they are connecting with all of his friends. So many friends, which is incredible.
Not all of them. Some.
So many, just
Some.
different friends, and it's amazing. Like, it doesn't look like my sister's husband that goes and has just meetings back to back to back. It's not like that. They're like fun trips because that's just how
They're designed that way.
yeah, it's really cool. So I feel like that gives him part of that. And to me, I just don't know if I've ever really said no to any of those. And I'm more saying no because of River's emotions. It was so hard to even handle as one parent here with two. And he wanted me to fly up there and meet him with both babies.
But your parent, just so we
that was, like,
got to
tough.
tell the whole story. You weren't here alone at the house. Your parents were here.
It honestly was like
Okay.
still just so bad.
But I think it's important to say you're not sitting here alone with our kid. Like it's
Yeah.
important to mention that.
Yeah.
The goal is that one person isn't saying no for someone else's life. Can you say no together? Can you make a strategic choice as a team to say no? And honestly, I'm a win-win person. Can you have your cake and eat it too?
Yeah.
And maybe it's for this season. I would say that you two have to put yourself and you as parents first before the kids. I know that might be controversial. People might freak out over hearing this, but I'm going to tell you, Riv and Poppy, they need mom and dad strong for the rest of their
I
lives.
agree with you 100% on that. And I
I
know that
agree,
may
but
be
I think-
controversial, but I don't care.
It
agree.
is, but I feel like in his decision, there was like no consideration of me.
And
like, at
to
all.
me, that's the frustrating part, because I made sure that you would never fly by yourself with our 2 children to where we were going. I made sure that you were going to have a family member there, a friend with you, and I felt like I coordinated that and made that very clear, but that was unseen.
Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
just a second. So I love, you are so on top of things. You are organized. You handle all the business. Was there something missing from the emotional side for you, Lo, that you needed? That if he would have been even more emotionally in tuned, where you would have said, you know what, I feel so good about this, Jason, go.
Yeah, I think his gift is coordinating, and so like that's super easy. He had a friend going with me on the flight that I like don't know super well. Like I love her to pieces, but I don't know her super well. She's not in charge of my babies. Jason has a hard time flying with both of our babies when we're together. So I think that was like also just felt kind of like he was like taking advantage of me normally just being like, yes, go have fun. And I truly am the type that I'm like, I'm just going to make this work. Like that's just how I am. And this time I was just thinking like, this is not fair. This is not fair to me. And I also wanted to go to Idaho at the very beginning of May, but we can't because of your guys' trip. So we're missing a couple weeks. So to me, it just comes off extremely selfish and not considerate of me or our kids, but like me specifically, like no conversation really seeking that understanding.
So that's what I'm getting at. There was a disconnect because logistically, that's a service that Jason provides that is really valuable. The leadership, the coordination,
Yes.
that is a gift to the Kennedy team. But there was something missing that I think for you that I'm hearing you say that was a conversation that was a little more intentional.
Yes. And he asked me about it from the beginning and from the start. I just said, just so you know, I want to be clear, like I'd love to go early in May to get the most time we possibly can. And I feel like he had already started coordinating with the guys before he'd really fully had a conversation with me, which more makes me feel like my say in this just doesn't matter.
It was to get details of what the trip was going to look like before I even brought it up to you, and then I was going to make sure I
But it
went
was
into
dates.
coordinating mode,
It was dates so that you would talk to
which
everyone.
you and I have talked through. We don't have to get in the weeds of that in terms of why it took so long and stuff. But I want to. Is that what you keep looking at your phone? Is what's going
There
on?
was this like post that was amazing. I wrote notes from, but it's what is the secret for women to thrive in marriage? When the husband leads with love, the wife follows with grace. When the husband loves, the wife naturally responds with tenderness. A good husband can bring out the best in his wife. A good wife is the cornerstone of a happy family. Cherish her properly. The more you cherish her, the softer she becomes. She will grow gentler and more charming. When life gets tough, you must become her support, protector at home. This creates trust. Most women don't crave luxury or wealth. They simply want to be understood, yearn for spiritual and emotional security, and when she feels this security, she will radiate with brilliance from within. Couples must communicate frequently, and affection fades when genuine communication is not happening regularly. I don't know why that just really hit home of like, I feel like guys and girls just want totally different things. So it's like understanding, we can get to the validation conversation, but like understanding that in each other and like how we can really give each other what we need.
Yes,
you know?
and honestly, women are wired to love, but men need respect.
Yep.
Men are more wired for respect and work, and yet they're called to love. Why does God call us to do the things that are opposite of our nature? Because he wants us to evolve and to grow and to heal. And so, and you two are very different. And here you are together, and you, I mean, are so different. You're all feeling and empathy, and you are just, I mean, people feel that around you, Lo. They are just feel so connected. And Jason, you are a beast of, you are a high administrator. You are goal oriented. You are protector, provider. So how do we bring these gifts together, and so you can be what you need instead of you guys being feeling disempowered in your life? I think this whole thing about validation is going to be key. But you guys are both winners, and together, if you can both feel like you're winning for each other, because all he wants to do is he wants you to be happy.
Yeah, because if
That's
she's
it.
not happy, I'm not happy.
That's right.
I know that's a famous quote, happy
Yes.
wife, happy life, but
But
it
I
is
feel like
the
you
most
do
true
want
thing.
that, but in ways that would make me happy, you don't necessarily want to do those things.
Okay.
Let me ask you that. Is that a true statement, Jason?
I don't feel that that's true at all, but I'm not going to disagree with your feelings. I mean, not just because we have a mic in front of our face and cameras, but what exactly, how can I validate you more?
I think what it is like those patterns of like your say doesn't really matter. That's what I like see the continual, that I think is why I bring up Poppy and the pregnancy and just so many instances during that pregnancy that my friend told me, like, you really don't forget what happens in your pregnancy. Like if something is wronged you, you like really don't. It's
Hormones
crazy.
are so intense.
Yes.
Can I ask you a safe question? But can some of that be because hormones are so intense? And
No,
you're
because
extra
this time
elevated?
I asked you 4 days in a row and I had to call my sister and she had to give me like input.
Okay.
So that's different. Maybe some things were, but
Do you feel like you've left the past behind? Like I've left the first 4 or 5 years of you moving to LA and really struggling to connect with women, being tired, all that, and feeling like we adjusted our entire life, and that was very difficult. I had to look at those 5 years and go, you know what? It's in the past. That was a real struggle. Can you put COVID, Jason, second, dad of Poppy, River, all that? Can you put those, tough seasons of, finding our balance? Can you put that aside, or are you going to constantly keep digging back into that when we get into a fight about, being late to drop River off from school? That's
think
the
it's
hard
like
part for me.
in me, things that didn't feel 100% emotionally resolved and I still see patterns of that same action. That's what like triggers me and maybe looks to you like I'm not over something. I think it's just like I'm seeing that pattern, so I bring up the pattern from the past to explain why that's so hurtful.
Got it.
And it might be showing up differently. But let me say this, is you have a right to change and to grow, and you have grown so much. But Jason, why I brought the intent is because we have to be careful to assign motive. I don't think you don't want to make her happy. I think sometimes you just don't know how, and vice versa. I think you don't intend to do something. You just don't know how. This is a part of learning and having so much grace. And I think you need to, as you zoom out, like you really are doing the best you can, and you are not where you were, but you're not where you're headed either. You're not quite. You have so much more to grow. But I will say this, Jason, for you, I believe that there has been so much change in you,
Yes.
and I think Lo, I think he needs to hear that
Yeah.
more and more from you, because your words are, you are everything to him. And I think we as women, we forget how powerful we are.
Yeah.
That one criticism can just flatline our spouses or our partners. And for Jason, he wants to win for you. He wants you to be happy. So while there are still adjustments that need to be made, I think even prefacing for both of you, say, hey, you have grown so much, and I just want to appreciate how much you have changed and how I feel so much more heard. But this kind of really stung.
Yeah.
And so you have to keep having those conversations. Conflict is growth waiting to happen. So you need to have them. So Jason, talk to me how you feel in that regard, because I don't see you wanting to fail your wife or make her
Not
upset.
at all. It's at the forefront of who I am. I think about it every single day. If there's conflict at home, I'm a basket case.
You're a mess.
I'm a nightmare. I'm a mess. I'm angry. I'm all the things. There's just so many layers to life right now that I think sometimes it's just like, even yesterday we weren't fighting by any means, but something was brought up and it just felt like the gas was let out of the tank. And the whole rest of the day, you get home, the kids are on one, they're not feeling their best right now. I feel depleted of energy. I feel frustrated. One of the deals I was working on didn't, come to fruition.
Is that the thing you're talking about that came up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Disappointment.
Yeah, just constant disappointment. So adding on top of that conflict with you, it's almost like just too much.
It's too much.
It's too much.
And you, both of you you are growing and learning, and this is going to be ongoing because you're such different personalities and you're different in every way. But this is the way of honestly making you holy, refining you, making you more mature. But at the end of the day, you have to be the wind beneath your wings, each other's wings. I'm telling you, it sounds really, listen, my therapist told me, Angie, you sit in your car outside your house until you are in a good enough headspace to walk into that home to bring the joy. Because you guys have fought for each other all these years. And so let the love and the joy be cultivated through your relationship, because that will break everything. But it shows you how powerful your relationship is. That, Jason, you can have all these things going for you, but if there's no shalom in the home,
Done.
So like, as we shift perspective, what does it look like? Again, these little things, empathy, validation. Let's get into validation here, because I think there's some things that can help you win and align with your true motives. Like, you guys want each other to win. You want to have that peace.
Yeah, let's end with validation, because I
Yeah.
know we're coming up on what a real session would be,
Yes.
an hour.
I feel like we could go through more hours.
Yeah,
I
for
know.
sure. We can.
And this is what I think is wonderful but challenging about a context like this is we have like 5 topics that we could dive deep in
Yeah.
for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
And that's why you should
totally.
probably go to therapy every week.
Yes, everybody, every week.
But this is free therapy for those that,
Yeah.
because therapy is expensive.
Yeah,
I
it is,
understand that.
yeah.
So I want to just have clarity exactly on the validating. How can I validate you more in the day to day?
So, Angie, oh my gosh, my lip gloss was kind of warm in there. A lot came out.
It's all over your lip.
How does it look?
It looks
would-
wild.
Oh my God, there's tons. Okay, well, I read this book called Making Marriage Simple. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yes.
I'm
Harville Hendricks.
obsessed.
It's one of the best books out there, everyone. Making Marriage Simple.
Literally so good.
Yes.
But how it talks about almost like repeating what someone said and said, okay, you're saying this to me. Am I hearing this correctly? And just like really like carefully hearing the words of someone and then saying it back to them and being like, and actually trying to understand why they feel that way and how they feel that way. And you don't have to agree with that feeling.
Absolutely.
That's the thing, is like, you're not agreeing necessarily. You are showing that you understand what they're
And you
trying
heard
to
them.
say. Yeah.
Yes, they're seen and heard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's the biggest thing, is just being seen and heard, and like you saying so much is going on to provide for our family, even just with the guys triplets say. And I told him, I was like, okay, but you have to look at you've left 4 times, which is amazing. I'm so grateful. Thank you for providing for our family. But like, this has been like double parenting for me. So I'm so exhausted, just in a totally different way.
Yeah.
And then now you want to go and have fun and no responsibility.
And
you
what
want,
the heck?
Yeah, and you want me to fly up with our babies? What? I was just like, and normally I'd be like, no problem, I'll make it work and like I'll figure it out. But like, even if it sucks, I'm gonna do it because this means so much to you. But this time just felt totally different. And I think just understanding like, oh yeah, that is like a lot for you. We're going for a month. So like, there's been all this, yeah, like we're bringing more things. We have, our kids are not the easiest to travel with right now. River's fine, but Poppy wants to move constantly. So it is more difficult. And I think because I usually just make it work, that I can do it, which is so nice and amazing. But it also is like, just give up the effing guys trip this year and you're going to be okay. Like, we're going to make it look a different way, and we're going to
And I did.
prioritize our family.
did it.
I did.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, in my brain, I'm just like, bro, chill. Like, I'm like, you get so much time with guys, and even when you're working and all these things.
But
so
I
like,
don't. I disagree with that. I don't. COVID.
I know it doesn't look
So
the
many
same, but,
people.
like,
So
yeah.
many of our friends moved. They left California. Then the wildfires recently. 2 of our other best friends gone, just like that, in 1 week. Gone.
Wow.
Left. Like, so I don't get that, and that's
No,
why
I'm
this
saying
trip's
on
so
your
important.
work trips. I'm saying on your work trips.
Sometimes, not important to get into here, but it's just like, I just disagree. That's why I still hold on to something so important like that. So when you say, bro, chill, I go, you just still don't get it.
Well, you don't feel validated because you don't feel heard and understood.
Yeah.
So validation goes both ways. And so you aren't using that language, Jason, like, I need you to validate me. You're not saying that to Lo.
Right.
But that's what it is. You
That's a good
actually need her to hear you, to feel you. She might not agree. I mean,
We don't have to always agree, right?
yeah, and she might not need it. But I think you just saying, you know what, he's his own person. This is what is important to him, and using that language, would that have made you feel differently if you felt understood?
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like you do feel understood in that way. It's more just my response that frustrates you or not. So if I validated him, which I have, I feel like I'm really good at validating you in that way, in those times. But if I say, like, maybe this isn't the best time, then you're not going to be happy because you're not, like, getting your way.
I think the easiest way to describe it is sometimes it gets so far. I'm big on analogies today. So
Good.
far down that football field.
Yeah.
The trip's planned. We got all this lined up. I've definitely left little nuggets of, hey, this is what we're thinking. And then she's like, well, you know what? I really never agreed to any of this. And I'm like, we definitely talked about this. Maybe you forgot. Maybe you weren't paying attention. But now tickets are booked, blah, blah, blah. And I think whether it's a guy's trip or it's another thing that happens in marriage or life, I think that's the part where you just have to go, okay, so now I'm just frustrated because I had my heart set on it, you know? So, I understand.
But you worked through it, and
Yeah, we did.
I want to give you just so much credit for that you worked through the disappointment, both of you, because at the end of the day, marriage is sacrifice. It is a dying to self in so many ways, and I think the goal is that we would become better humans. But also, as you guys grow together, is you want each other to win, but also say, you know what, maybe this isn't the year. And Jason, do you think that because you let this trip go, can you let the emotional part go?
I have.
Really,
Honestly think I have.
you feel good?
Yeah,
Lo, do you believe him?
I think so.
I have.
Okay, you guys, that's so good.
No, I have. I really have.
This is huge because I don't know many couples that would have bounced back like this.
Yeah, it definitely took some
Because
I feel
it's
like
a
he's
big,
really good at not holding on to things.
because it's not worth it. It literally is not worth it. It's
Yeah.
so dumb if you hold on to stuff
Yeah.
like that. I'm not saying I don't hold on to some things like this for a couple of weeks, but after a while, you're like, bro, chill.
I mean,
my quote.
I love it. The fact you can laugh about it, that is so healthy, and to keep that humor and that fun and that lightness. But let's talk about validation. What do you need validation to look like? Lo, you kind of described it pretty well. It's like, am I seen? Am I heard? Can you repeat after me? Jason, this might be new to you, like the validation language. Did you get much validation when you were young?
I feel like I did, yeah.
Yeah. Emotionally, do you feel like he's...
But in your emotions.
Yeah, sometimes I just don't remember because, I mean, I feel like my parents did an incredible job with us.
Yeah, you feel good.
Hey, let me build you a newsroom. Let me take you to a news scene. Let me,
that
nurture
has
the
nothing
things
to
that are
do
in
with
your
emotion.
heart.
Yeah,
Nurture
yeah.
the things that are in your heart.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you were, like, upset, if you were worried, like, I don't know if you did share those things. Because
I don't think we were an overly emotional family. You guys were definitely raised differently, but in that moment for my needs, I felt like, yeah.
So this whole thing with, as Lo brings up, she grew up in a highly attuned, highly emotionally intelligent home. Feelings were talked about. Do you feel like that just connecting more on the emotional level in your marriage has been good for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been phenomenal. We
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
No, but when I first Lo's parents, after they got divorced and remarried, again to the same people, your parents are marriage counselors now.
Wow.
Yes. To answer your question, I think it opened the gate for vulnerability and discussing your feelings and just the idea of therapy, because I had never gone to therapy before I met you. The fact that I'm in therapy weekly with my own therapist, and now we're doing couples therapy. I mean, there's your answer right there. The proof is in the
Huge.
pudding.
But at the beginning of our marriage, he was actually very triggered by deep conversation
Deep conversation with who?
with anybody. I remember you being like, if you say deep one more time.
I
I don't know. I'll never forget that.
hold on.
So I was like, I don't know. Or I feel like you were not.
I was
a fan
already
of that.
doing that with all my buddies, so
I know.
I'm not sure if I fully agree with that.
Or with me, I guess, because it was like I remember it so clearly. You being like so frustrated, like, why do we have to talk deeply right now?
No, that's just because I was tired. I'd come home from a long day, and if whoever was in town, you guys would want to get into this long conversation and deep. I'd
You're
be
like,
like,
"Peace
I don't
out."
have the time to do that right now. I'm just like mentally shot. But now that's not the case. So why are we bringing that up?
Or no, it's just like I don't think maybe you were like used to that.
But now-
because you've
but
changed
now-
so much. Or I've just seen like
Right.
so much change in like your desire to do that.
But now I am. So
Yeah.
what's the problem?
More like, because I think that stems from like how you grew up or like your home life of like what you were accustomed to.
Uh-huh.
Because, yeah, and what you feel comfy with.
Yeah.
Which is great. There's nothing wrong with either thing.
So how do you want to end this?
So let's real quick. Validation. You nailed it. It's not about agreeing, but it's about I see you, I hear you, I feel you. I want to do something about what you're going through. And I think for men, typically, it's hard for men to always use the right language. I mean, I'm still. If you said it this way, babe, it would have felt so much better. Or babe, if you would. And he's like, it doesn't matter if he says it right the one day. It's not the right thing. If it's that's just in my marriage. We just laugh about that because he's such a scientist and he's so facts and logic. But I would say this, Jason. I would say, validate her with, I hear you. Tell me more. Mm-hmm. Tell me more. And you don't have to agree with it, and you don't even have to have an opinion. You don't have to judge it.
Okay.
But let space sit to where she feels like, wow, you're really listening and you don't want to rush to solve it. It's not about solutions. Am I right?
Yes. That's so true. And we just discovered Jace is an 8 on the Enneagram. So like the way he communicates, I mean, you can see it here is just super black and white. And like for me, I'm like, wait, but there's this part. I don't know. And that's just
And you're a
kind of
9,
most women.
right? You're a 9.
Yep.
You're an 8 now?
I believe so. I took
We
a long
redid
test.
the test and
We thought you were a
like,
6.
I know. I totally thought he was a 6.
Yeah.
I'm an 8.
Does
an
that
8.
I'm an
resonate?
8.
Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, and you would think it would be easier for me because in my job every day I'm like, oh really? Tell me more. That's called interviewing someone.
That's right.
So I'll try to be better and incorporate that in my own marriage without a feeling of having to interject, change, and defend.
Jason, I'm telling you, reading your 8 profile is going to change your life. Was there anything about it that made you be like, no, that's not me? Or did it resonate?
I feel like it all.
Like everyone were like, whoa.
I feel like it resonated.
Okay.
I can't remember all of them, but in that moment I go, yeah, sounds about right.
So 8s are a lot. But they are defenders, protectors, and they are so tender. You wouldn't think they are. So yeah. So the 8 and 9 actually are a really great combination. You have a great way about you, and when you get these details like hammered out, it's going to get better and easier every single year.
So you're saying we should keep going?
You got to keep going. Listen, Riv and Poppy, they need you for their grandbabies, and so you guys are doing the work, and I'm so proud of you.
Angie,
You're
thank
such
you.
a gift.
We appreciate it. If we seemed
And I'm so
uncomfortable,
proud of you.
oh, thank you. I'm proud of you too. If we seemed uncomfortable at any moment, maybe it was more me. Yeah, I mean, this is vulnerable. This is the real deal. Hopefully we didn't talk in circles too much, but the idea is not to have some free-flowing show with like segments. This is just our therapy session, and we want to thank you for listening in. You good with how it went?
Yes, and we're ending at 111, which I see every single day.
Me too.
No way.
Yep.
And
11. Yep.
Really?
11. Yep.
Every day.
Every day.
Well, we better stop talking now because it's about to be 112.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for watching. Love you.
Love you.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for watching.